Gather round, dear listeners, and allow me to share with you a tale so intricate and haunting that it has lingered in the whispers of time. A story of betrayal, lost love, hidden secrets, and the relentless passage of fate. This is the story of Miranda, a woman whose heart was torn between the passions of fleeting desire and the promises of a life she never truly understood. A story that begins with a single act of treachery and unfolds into an unpredictable tapestry of drama, mystery, and suspense that will leave you breathless until the very last word. Miranda had once been the darling of a modest family, the light of her small town, known for her enchanting smile and a gentle kindness that seemed to radiate from her very soul. Yet, beneath that radiant exterior, a tempest brewed, a desire for something more, a yearning for a life beyond the confines of her ordinary existence. In her youth, she had married Daniel, a simple man of honest means, whose unwavering love and quiet devotion had once filled her days with hope and promise. Together, they had built a humble life, and from their union, a son, Jamie, was born, a bright, curious child who embodied all the goodness of their shared dreams. But as the years wore on, the gentle cadence of their life began to falter. Miranda's heart, restless and hungry for excitement, was slowly being seduced by the allure of a different world, a world of opulence, glamour, and limitless possibilities. It was in the gilded corridors of high society that she met Victor, a man of wealth, power, and a magnetic charm that shone like a beacon in the darkness of her discontent. Victor was everything Daniel was not: lavish, daring, and intoxicatingly unpredictable. Under his influence, Miranda felt the stirrings of a passion that was at once forbidden and irresistible. One fateful evening, as the city's lights twinkled like distant stars and the air hummed with the promise of hidden desires, Miranda made a decision that would forever alter the course of her life. In a moment of impulsive abandon, she left behind the life she had known, the home she had built with Daniel, and the son who adored her, to embark on a journey into the dazzling, treacherous world that Victor represented. In the blink of an eye, she vanished from the life of her family, leaving behind only questions and a trail of heartache that would haunt Daniel and Jamie for many years to come. In the wake of her departure, Daniel was left with a profound sense of loss and betrayal. His world, once filled with the warmth of love and the simple joys of family life, was suddenly shrouded in the bitter cold of abandonment. Jamie, though still a child, felt the weight of the void left by his mother's absence, a silence so heavy that it stifled the laughter that once danced in his eyes. The community whispered, and the gossips spread tales of a woman seduced by wealth and the promise of luxury, a woman who had traded the comfort of familial love for the allure of a life that glittered with peril. Years passed, and the wounds of the past began to fester like open sores in the hearts of those left behind. Daniel, a man of quiet dignity, clung to the hope that perhaps one day Miranda would return to the fold, that she would realize the error of her ways and seek forgiveness for the pain she had inflicted. Yet, as the seasons turned and the years melted away, that hope dwindled into a fragile ember, one that flickered in the depths of his soul but was often smothered by the relentless march of time. Jamie, now a young man, grew up carrying the burden of abandonment, his heart a mixture of longing and resentment, a constant reminder that some wounds, no matter how deep, might never truly heal. And then, as if fate itself decided that the past should no longer be left to fester in silence, something entirely unpredictable occurred. It began with a whisper, a rumor that rippled through the corridors of high society and the quiet streets of the town alike. A chance encounter in an upscale hotel lobby, a conversation overheard in hushed tones, and soon, the truth began to emerge like a ghost rising from the grave of forgotten memories. Miranda, the once rebellious soul who had chosen a life of extravagance with Victor, was not the woman she appeared to be. Whispers spoke of regret and sorrow that lay hidden behind the glittering facade of wealth. It was said that in the opulent world she now inhabited, her heart was not filled with the passion she had once sought, but with a gnawing emptiness, a void that even the riches of her new life could not fill. The turning point came on a rainy evening, the kind of night where the heavens weep with the intensity of lost dreams, and the city is cloaked in a shroud of melancholy. Jamie, now a man whose soul had been hardened by years of rejection and pain, found himself drawn back to the town he had once called home. Unbeknownst to him, the winds of destiny were about to change the course of his life, and that of his long-estranged mother, in ways that no one could have foreseen. While wandering the quiet, rain-soaked streets, Jamie's eyes were caught by a flicker of light in a small, out-of-the-way cafe, a light that seemed to beckon him, drawing him toward the promise of a secret long hidden. Inside, in a corner bathed in the soft glow of a single lamp, he saw her. Miranda, his mother, sitting alone at a table, her eyes distant and filled with an expression of profound melancholy. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. The years melted away, and in that brief, charged moment, Jamie felt the pang of 1,000 unspoken emotions. He approached her cautiously, his heart pounding with a mixture of anger, longing, and the desperate hope of reconciliation. Their eyes met, and in that silent exchange, the weight of the past bore down on them. Memories of a once happy family, of promises broken and hearts shattered by the relentless pursuit of a fleeting dream. The reunion was anything but peaceful. The air was thick with tension as long-hidden truths began to surface like shards of glass in a once tranquil pond. Miranda, now a woman transformed by years of indulgence in a world that was as unforgiving as it was alluring, was forced to confront the consequences of her choices. With tears streaming down her face, she recounted the tale of her escape, a story of passion and regret, of a moment of weakness that had spiraled into a lifetime of misery. She spoke of Victor, the rich man who had swept her away with promises of wealth and glamour, only to reveal himself as a man whose charm was matched only by his cruelty. In the glittering halls of his mansion, Miranda had discovered that the life of luxury was built on a foundation of lies, and that the very riches she had once coveted were nothing more than a gilded prison from which she could never escape. Jamie listened, his own heart a tumult of conflicting emotions. The son who had grown up feeling abandoned and unloved now grappled with the realization that his mother, too, had been a victim of circumstances, trapped in a web of deceit and the relentless pursuit of an unattainable ideal. Yet, even as he sought to understand her plight, the scars of his past remained, a constant reminder of the pain that had shaped him. The conversation that followed was fraught with raw emotion, a desperate attempt to bridge the chasm that had long separated them. But as the night wore on, it became clear that the reunion was only the beginning of a journey that would force them to confront not only the demons of their past, but also the dark forces that still lurked in the shadows. For as the initial shock of the reunion faded, an undercurrent of mystery began to emerge. Strange occurrences started to punctuate their fragile reconciliation. A series of inexplicable phone calls in the dead of night, mysterious figures spotted lurking in the periphery of their lives, and cryptic messages that hinted at secrets too dangerous to reveal. It was as if the universe itself was determined to remind them that some wounds could never be truly healed, that the past, no matter how deeply buried, had a way of clawing its way back into the present. One evening, as the rain hammered relentlessly against the window panes and the wind howled like a chorus of lost souls, Jamie received an anonymous letter. The envelope, weathered by time and stamped with an insignia he did not recognize, contained a single, chilling message: "Some debts can never be repaid." The words sent a shiver down his spine, igniting a spark of fear and intrigue that he could neither ignore nor fully comprehend. What did it mean? Who could have sent it? And why now, after all these years of silence? The mystery deepened with each passing day, as more letters arrived, each one a piece of a puzzle that hinted at a hidden past, a conspiracy that had woven its dark tendrils around their lives long before Miranda had ever made her fateful choice. Desperate for answers, Jamie turned to those who had known his mother before she vanished into the world of wealth and decadence. In hushed conversations with old friends and family members, he began to uncover fragments of a story that had been meticulously concealed beneath layers of denial and shame. Miranda, it turned out, had been involved with individuals whose lives were steeped in secrets, a network of power and influence that operated in the shadows, where loyalty was bought and betrayal was the currency of survival. The rich man, Victor, was but one figure in a vast, intricate tapestry of deceit, and his connection to Miranda was only the tip of a dark iceberg that threatened to engulf them all. The deeper Jamie delved into the mystery, the more he realized that the consequences of his mother's actions extended far beyond the realm of personal heartbreak. It was a tale of corruption and greed, of ambitions so grand and ruthless that they had the power to shape destinies. The letters, the whispers of old acquaintances, and the cryptic clues left behind in forgotten diaries painted a picture of a world where nothing was as it seemed. A world where even the most intimate relationships could be manipulated by forces far beyond individual control. Amidst the growing turmoil, Jamie found himself caught between two worlds. The one of his childhood, filled with the bittersweet memories of a mother who had once been a beacon of love and hope, and the grim reality of a present dominated by treachery and hidden agendas. Each new revelation was a dagger to the heart. Each twist in the story a reminder that time had not healed all wounds, but had instead allowed them to fester, growing into a malignant force that threatened to destroy everything he held dear. And then, in a moment that defied all expectations, the unpredictable happened. On an overcast afternoon that seemed to hold its breath in anticipation, Jamie received a phone call, a call that would once again shatter the fragile peace he had managed to carve out for himself. The voice on the other end was unfamiliar, yet it carried an urgency that made his blood run cold. "Meet me at the old pier," the voice instructed in a tone that brooked no argument. "There are answers you need to hear." With no other choice but to follow the summons, Jamie set out on a journey that would lead him to confront not only the demons of his family's past, but also the sinister forces that had been silently orchestrating events from the shadows. At the deserted pier, where the sound of crashing waves mingled with the distant cry of seagulls, Jamie encountered a figure cloaked in mystery, a woman whose eyes were as piercing as they were sorrowful. She introduced herself only as Cassandra, and with a voice that trembled with the weight of untold secrets, she began to unravel a narrative that left Jamie both mesmerized and horrified. Cassandra spoke of a hidden legacy, of debts that had been incurred long before Miranda's fateful decision to leave, and of a series of events that had been set in motion by that very act of betrayal. According to Cassandra, Miranda's departure was not a spontaneous act of infidelity, but part of a grand design. A design crafted by powerful figures whose reach extended far beyond the boundaries of their small town. As Cassandra's tale unfolded, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. She revealed that Victor, the man who had stolen Miranda away, was not merely a wealthy playboy, but a key player in a dangerous game of power and revenge. His wealth was a mask for a darker ambition, and his connection to Miranda was rooted in secrets that spanned generations. The letters that Jamie had received were not random threats, but deliberate warnings from someone who had been watching over him, a guardian of a truth too perilous to be left unspoken. Cassandra's revelations painted a picture of a world where love, betrayal, and ambition were inextricably linked, where every action had a consequence far beyond the immediate pain of loss, and where the echoes of the past could resurface in the most unexpected of ways. Jamie's heart pounded as he absorbed the gravity of Cassandra's words. Here, in the fading light of a gray, overcast day, he was faced with the realization that his own life was intertwined with a web of intrigue and vengeance that he had never imagined. The son of a cheating wife, abandoned and scarred by the choices of his mother, now stood on the precipice of a destiny that was as terrifying as it was inevitable. With each passing moment, the stakes grew higher, and the shadow of the past loomed larger than ever before. Determined to uncover the full extent of the conspiracy and to finally understand the truth about his mother's disappearance, Jamie embarked on a relentless pursuit of answers. His quest took him to forgotten corners of the city, abandoned warehouses where time seemed to stand still, opulent mansions hiding secrets behind gilded facades, and dark alleys where whispers of illicit deals and dangerous liaisons echoed in the night. Along the way, he encountered allies and adversaries alike, individuals whose loyalties were as murky as the midnight waters of storm-tossed sea. Some offered him fragments of information in exchange for silence, while others threatened him with dire consequences if he dared to pry too deeply into matters best left buried. As the investigation unfolded, Jamie found himself grappling with a profound internal conflict. On one hand, there was the raw, aching need to avenge the wounds inflicted upon his soul by his mother's abandonment and the betrayal of a love that once promised so much. On the other hand, there was a flickering hope, a belief that perhaps, beneath the layers of deception and regret, there still lay a chance for redemption. The duality of his emotions was as complex as it was painful, a constant battle between the desire for retribution and the longing for reconciliation with a past that had been marred by sorrow. In the midst of this turmoil, the unpredictable forces that had shaped his life continued to reveal themselves in the most startling of ways. One moonlit night, as Jamie pored over a collection of old letters in a dusty archive, he stumbled upon a photograph that stopped him in his tracks. A photograph of Miranda, taken long before she had left her old life behind, smiling warmly, her eyes sparkling with hope and promise. But there was something else in the photograph, a shadow lurking in the background, an indistinct figure whose presence hinted at a secret too chilling to ignore. The discovery sent a jolt of terror and excitement through Jamie's veins. Was it possible that even before her fateful departure, Miranda had been entangled in a web of mystery and intrigue? And what connection did this shadow hold to the forces that now threatened to upend his very existence? With renewed determination, Jamie delved deeper into the mystery, piecing together clues that led him to a revelation that would shake the very foundation of his understanding of his mother and himself. It emerged that Miranda, the woman who had once been the embodiment of hope and tenderness, had been living a double life long before she left her family. Behind the facade of a loving wife and devoted mother lay a trail of secrets that connected her to a world of deception, greed, and dangerous ambition. Her relationship with Victor, it seemed, was not born solely out of lust or the allure of wealth, but was intricately linked to a series of events that spanned decades, a legacy of betrayal that had been carefully orchestrated by powerful figures with their own agendas. As the truth began to surface, the air around Jamie grew heavy with the scent of impending reckoning. The rich tapestry of lies that had once seemed impenetrable was now unraveling thread by thread, revealing a design so intricate and sinister that it defied belief. The unpredictable nature of the revelations, the twists that turned allies into enemies, the shocking betrayals that upended long-held assumptions, left Jamie reeling, his heart caught in the relentless grip of a destiny he could no longer avoid. In a final, heart-stopping confrontation that would determine the fate of all involved, Jamie found himself face-to-face with the man who had been the linchpin of it all, Victor. The encounter was as charged with tension as it was drenched in the sorrow of lost years. In a dimly lit drawing room adorned with opulent trappings and steeped in an atmosphere of palpable menace, the two men locked eyes. Victor, with a smug yet cold expression, revealed that his plans had always been set in motion long before Miranda had made her fateful decision. Every move, every whispered promise, every betrayal had been part of a grand design, a design to secure power, wealth, and a legacy that was built on the ruin of lives like theirs. As accusations flew and emotions surged to a fever pitch, Jamie realized that the confrontation was not just about the past, but about the future, a future that hung in the balance, its outcome determined by the choices made in that fateful moment. In the midst of the chaos, a revelation emerged that no one could have anticipated. Miranda, who had once been the architect of her own downfall, had left behind a final message, A message that held the key to not only understanding her true motivations, but also to breaking the cycle of betrayal and vengeance that had haunted their lives for so long. The message was simple yet profound. A plea for forgiveness, a desperate call to remember that love, in its truest form, was not defined by the mistakes of the past, but by the willingness to change and to embrace redemption. With those words echoing in the charged silence of the room, Jamie was faced with an impossible choice: to allow the darkness of the past to consume him, or to take a leap of faith toward a future where healing and reconciliation might finally be possible. In that fraught moment, as the storm outside raged with a fury that mirrored the tumult within, Jamie made his decision. He chose to break the cycle of pain and retribution, to honor the memory of a mother who had once loved him unconditionally despite her grievous missteps. The decision was not without its consequences. Old wounds would take time to heal, and the scars of betrayal would always serve as a reminder of the cost of trust. Yet, as the first light of dawn broke through the clouds, illuminating the path ahead with a soft, forgiving glow, there was a sense of possibility, a chance to rebuild what had been broken and to forge a new legacy from the ruins of the past. And so, dear listeners, as I bring this tale of suspense, betrayal, mystery, and the unpredictable twists of fate to its close, remember that sometimes the most unexpected events can serve as the catalyst for transformation. The story of Miranda, Daniel, Jamie, and the enigmatic Victor is a testament to the complexities of the human heart, a reminder that love, despite its flaws and the scars it leaves behind, remains the most powerful force of all. It is a story that teaches us that even when the choices we make lead us down dark and treacherous paths, there is always hope for redemption, that every ending is but the beginning of another journey, a journey toward forgiveness, healing, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. So, as you step away from this tale and return to your own lives, may you carry with you the knowledge that the past, no matter how painful, can be overcome. That in every moment of despair, there is the seed of renewal waiting for the chance to blossom. And that sometimes it takes the most unpredictable twist of fate, a single life-altering moment, to show us that even in the deepest darkness, love and hope can find a way to shine through. And thus, let this story serve as a beacon, a reminder that while our lives may be marred by mistakes and the wounds of betrayal, the future is never set in stone. It is ours to write anew with every choice, every act of courage, and every step toward forgiveness. For in the end, it is not the betrayals we endure, but the resilience of our hearts and the strength to rise again that define us as human beings.